Hello, I'm Graham McLeod. I'm here on my latest vlog. And this week we're going to be looking at some of the recent increases in prices, considering the factors about what's driving those prices. We're going to be talking about the impact of the interest rate rises we've seen recently and why it may not necessarily mean your remortgage is going to cost you more money. And I'll also be looking at some of our latest properties from around the region. So the 2022 property market has been warming up since the Christmas break, and we've certainly seen a big rush and a big return to some of the trends we saw in 2021. In the 18 deals we've done in February so far, I can report that way more than half of them have achieved their guide price or more, the most successful of them all achieving a huge £40,000 above guide. So I thought we'd look at some case studies and try and understand some of the factors that's driving this increase. So firstly, looking at Lindisfarne Street, this is a terraced house in Carlisle, but this kind of accommodation is repeated right throughout Cumbria and the various towns that we have. A really well presented 3-bedroom terraced house, been nicely modernised and drove a huge record price. So why did it do that? Well, firstly, first-time buyers are seeing a scarcity of supply. We've only got about 25% of normal stock levels at the moment for this time of year, and that means that the supply-demand ratio, we're always going to see prices move forwards. But also we're seeing rents are increasing too, and with rents increasing, that gives a better yield for a landlord, and it's driving huge investor interest too. Bring these two things together, you're always going to drive a high price. Another case study for you, a really stylish apartment in Higginson Mill in Carlisle. You can see from the image, it's a beautiful apartment. It was brought to the market by the sellers in the mid-part last year, but didn't find its buyer. And this is an interesting one because as estate agents, we always advise our clients when asked the question, what should I spend on my property to make it saleable? We always say as little as possible. Save your cash, invest it on your next home. Our sellers took a different view here. They renovated the house, putting in a beautiful new kitchen and a really stylish bathroom. The result, one of our biggest attended live stream viewing events, one of our biggest property launches of the year so far, and again, multiple offers and driving a really top price. The buyer is going to get the benefit of a beautiful home that's been renovated, and the seller comes away with a great price. So, another couple of sales to give you an idea of, just to show you and illustrate what's happening in our market, is these two sales which have both been achieved recently. And in these ones, the story is that both of the owners of these properties moved in only weeks ago. But unfortunately, due to job relocation pressures and other pressures, they've had to come back to market in a very quick time. Now, moving house is an expensive business. You've got estate agency fees, legal fees. Of course, the biggest thing is your property taxes. And for most people, doing it once in a year is a big drain on resources, but doing it twice in a year is beyond the reach of most households. In this instance, both sellers achieved fantastic prices, well in excess of the original purchase. And we estimate now that it takes about 6 months of house price equity growth in order for you to be able to buy, cover your move and your next purchase, and still fund it through your equitable growth. So in the wider market, one of the big stories we've seen in January was that we saw the second increase in 3 months in the Bank of England base rate, rising to 0.5%. This matters to mortgage borrowers because the central bank lends to banks and building societies who then lend to us through their mortgages. So what does this mean for us? Well, 1 in 5 people are on variable mortgages, and you'd have seen your mortgage rates and your monthly payments increase probably after the first rise in pre-Christmas. The likelihood is you'll see them rise again very shortly. If you're one of the 80% of mortgage borrowers on a fixed rate, then you're not really going to see any difference for now, but there is a danger that at some point when your flexible rate or your discounted rate is up, that you're going to face a bit of a price hike. A little bit like what we've seen with the increase in utilities that we all face. But in real terms, what does this mean? Well, we still have record low interest rates. Money and mortgages has never been cheaper, and therefore the increases should largely be accommodated. But for those of you who maybe took mortgages out 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago and may have a rate coming to an end this year, it may not lead to you actually paying more money. Why is that? Well, let's assume you bought that house 2, 3, 4 years ago. Your equitable growth could be 10%, 20%, 30%, depending on when you bought. And at the same time, month by month, you'd be making payments which have been reducing the outstanding capital amount. So what this means is when you go to remortgage, your loan to value is going to be lower than when you took the mortgage out originally. And a lower loan to value is less risk for a lender and could well give you access to cheaper rates than the ones you took originally. So let's look ahead to the next week and some of the properties that I'm most excited about that have come new to market with hunters over the last few days. So the first house I want to tell you about, Ripon Close. It's on a really popular development in Carlisle. It's a story-built new home, nice modern airy property, lovely dining kitchen in that contemporary style living, and just a really great family home for those looking to expand and find more space for themselves and their expanding family. £300,000, I'm sure is going to make a wonderful family home. Okay, so moving down to the west coast, and our office is down in that part of Cumbria. This one caught my eye. It's Briscoe Crescent. This is a traditional 3-bed semi-detached home, but it's been modernised so tastily by the current owners. Beautiful re-rendering on the front, modern glazing, created a gorgeous dining social kitchen area, great space out the back to socialise. On the outskirts of Whitehaven, £135,000. This is going to make a wonderful purchase for somebody. So, relocating ourselves now into the National Park, and I'm going to show you a property up Oak Street. This is a property, a lovely family home, and it's subject to a local occupancy clause. That means you must have been working or must be resident in the Cumbria area for 3 consecutive years. It's a great family home, pedestrian access to the front, secure rear garden, 3 bedrooms, a wonderful place to bring up a family. And how about this view to the front? Yeah, you're looking at a babbling stream out of your living room window. Just a couple of minutes walk into Windermere Town Centre. This is going to be very popular. And finally, going down to the south of the patch, we find ourselves in Lindle in Furness, and we're looking at a deceptively large 2-bedroom terraced home. This has got some fantastic Victorian style features, beautiful hallway with the original tiling, and a nice forecourted property with views up to the famous Hode Monument. Ulverston's just a short drive away, as is Barrow, if you want indeed local amenities. So that rounds up the vlog for this week, and hopefully you've seen something that's caught your interest, or you've heard something that's useful. Don't forget to get in touch with anybody on our friendly team here at Hunters to do with anything with sales, lettings, mortgages and conveyancing.